Let's talk about the DQMH scripting tools. In the Getting Started with DQMH video, we created this project. We created it from the Getting Started window. Another way to create a project is also from Create Project and then selecting here the DQMH, the Delacor QMH. You could also just have an existing project that doesn't have anything to do with DQMH where you want to add a new DQMH module. So you go to Tools, Delacor, and DQMH, add new DQMH module. You choose a name. Let's say we're going to create a progress bar module. And in our case, it's going to be a singleton. We're going to edit the overlay, and we're going to tell it that it is a progress bar. So once we have the overlay, we're going to say create, and this is going to create a tester and an add-in module to my project. I'll pause and come back when it's done. Okay, so it created the test progress bar BI and the progress bar library. And what we're going to do now is we're going to open the main BI for the progress bar, and we're going to add to it a progress bar. So if I go progress bar, and let's do the horizontal, let's just do the system horizontal progress bar. There we go. We're going to make it big, and then this is going to be my progress bar, and we are going to minimize my panel just to make it fit. There we go. Okay, file, save, and if I check my tester already has the code for showing it, hiding it, and showing this block diagram. Okay, and that I get that just by adding the module. So we're going to save that, and now that I have my first my module here, I need to have a way to actually telling it what its maximum value is, and let's put at a scale here. So by default, I think these things go from 0 to 100. So we're going to add an event that is going to let us change the scale of it. Okay, so I'm going to do save, and what we're going to do is we are going to go to the tools, and we want all the calling code to be able to tell the progress bar what its maximum value is. So we're going to create a new DQMH event. We're going to select the module, the progress bar, and this is a request, and what I want is to set max value, and this BI sets the max value for the progress bar. If I say OK, I'm going to get a window that says that I need to add an argument. In our case, since I'm going to be putting a max value, I'm just going to put a number here, and we're just going to call it max value. Okay, so I'm going to say OK, and that's going to add code to my project. So it added the set max value, and it also opens the tester and the main code so I can add code for it. I have here my cheat sheet that says assign this event frame to a new front panel control used to test the set max value. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a control from here, and that's going to be our max value, and whenever that max value changes, that's when I am going to be firing this guy. So what did this create for us? The VI that was created for us did some extra magic. It went into the place where I have my request events, right? And it added a set max value there. It also created the argument for the set max value, fits it into the create user event, and keeps track of it on the reference. I didn't have to do any of this. This is all done for me. And as you can see, we have notes everywhere here that says, don't worry about it. You don't need to edit this VI. It is created by the tool. Okay. Then it selected the set max value for me, and like I said, it created also the argument. So if I wanted to add extra information here, let's say that not only I want to set the max value, but I would also want to set the increment value, I can just add it to this argument, and then that would be sent with the message as well, with the event. So that created the set max value event. Now I need to actually add the code to the my main BI to do something with this information. So I'm going to edit, well, here, configure this event frame for the set max value. So how is it that it knows that I need to configure to set max value? Well, like I showed you earlier, the progress bar request events was modified to have the set max value. And by having that added here and wired to my user event registration, this event structure, virtue of this wire, knows when I go to edit events handled by this case, it has a list of all the requests that can be sent to the progress bar. I can stop it, show the panel, hide the panel, show diagram, and now I have the set max value. The other thing that the scripting tools did for me is they added the case and the message handler. I'm going to delete this now, and it says set max value, and it created the message case for set max value. Set max value says, okay, configure this message for handling the set max value and delete this BI when done. So what I'm going to do is my little progress bar here, I'm going to create a property node to set its range, and the max value, we're going to change it here. So right click, and then we're good to go. So if I run now, and I say start module, show module, by default right now it's on the 100, and what we're going to say is I want it to be 55 now. And you can see that the progress bar updates every time I change the value here. Okay? All right, so I'm going to stop the module. I can leave the tester running if I want, and I can just go to the progress bar. And now probably what I also want to do is to be able to increment the value, right? So what I'm going to do is stop the tester. If I try to add an event with the tester running, it will tell me that something is running. So I should stop my tester before I want to go. So I'm going to close the tester and then go to Tools, Delacor, create new DQMH. The new thing that I'm going to get here is I want the progress bar, I want another request, and what I'm going to do now is increment progress. And I am going to just add by how much. I could also just put it, you know, a boolean or something else. I mean, if I decide that the default is just going to be to make it a 1. So I'm going to go here. We're going to make this 1. That's going to be the default value. And I'm going to change it, instead of being required, I'm just going to say recommended. And again, it created all the code for us. We don't need to worry about that. So I'm going to close that, save. And I now just need to add a button here for incrementing the, I think we're using silver here, so I'll just put a new silver button to increment the progress. So there we go. Increment progress, and find terminal. We're going to put it here. Edit events handled by this case. Go to the increment progress, and again I was just following the instructions here, and now I need to go handle what is it that I'm going to do on the main. So on the main it says to configure the increment for progress. Again, this is because that event has been added here, and because that wire is connected to this user event, that I know that when I go to edit events handled by this case, I have the event listed here. And I can just tell it how much is the increment that I sent. And what we're going to do now in the progress bar, I'm just going to create a local variable, change to read, and whenever we get the increment, we're just going to do the add wherever is the increment. U8, and right now the progress bar is a U8, so I probably want to change the increment. So what I can do is I can right click and open the type def and change the representation to be a U8 as well. and you see that everything on my events was updated. So let's see how that works. So if I run my tester, start the module, show the module, and I start incrementing, we can see the progress bar going up. If I change these to 20, there we go. Okay, and then probably we would want also a decrement event, but we're going to leave it as is. All right, so that's the a very simple, using the create event. The other tool that we have on the Delacor DQMH is remove a DQMH event. So, typical thing is I added something that I didn't need after all, or maybe I made a typo when I created an event, and it's just a lot easier just to remove it and create a new one. So let's just, and we can remove some of the events that are already there. So for example, let me see, Delacor DQMH. Let's go to the remove DQMH. Now, if I have anything that's not saved on my project, it's not going to let me use it, so we need to do it again. So I'm going to go Delacor DQMH, remove DQMH. If I select the progress bar, you're going to see that the things that I can remove is the two that I created, as well as the show diagram. That shows the block diagram for troubleshooting. I'm not able to remove a start, show module, high module, or stop, because those are considered the part of the core of a DQMH module. That's why they're not, we're not able to remove them this way. So let's just add a new event that we're going to be removing. Okay, so I'm going to do tools, Delacor, DQMH, create new DQMH event, and I'm just even going to say for the progress bar, and we're going to say to be removed. And again, I have to put something, so we're just going to put that, and I'm going to do OK. And that's going to create the new code. If let me save everything, I decide, I don't really want that event. So I can go to Delacor DQMH, remove DQMH event. We're going to select the progress bar, and the one that we're going to be removing is the one that we named to be removed. I want you to see the note there. Let me show you the note again. And actually, it says code that calls the removed event will not be modified. We are respectful of your code. When you remove calls to be removed event and its arguments cluster, you may be prompted to save the removed VIs. Do not save these VIs, or they will be recreated on disk. And as part of removing them, you don't want them to be on your source code control, for example. So if you look at your error list, that can give you a good idea of where are the places that you need to go to remove things. And one is going to be the to be removed. Remember, they told you to do not save, so we're going to say defer decision. You're going to go show error, and you can see that this event it needs to be removed. Now in this case, I added something that we didn't really add code for it, so it might not be the best example. So we'll do a new one in a minute. And I have here the case for the deferred decision. So I need to find out where is it that I'm calling the to be removed. Here it is. So it's until I delete the event case that I'm asked to save. I'm going to say don't save all. And because I didn't save it, we don't have any remnants of it. Let's add one control that we actually add. Let's add some code to it. So let's do save all, tools, Delacor, DQMH. I create new event, and let's make these request and wait for reply. And we are going to call these increment, wait. Okay, and same thing, let's just put a number, okay. And on step 1, I need to select my progress bar. So I'm going to do okay. And that's adding all the code. And this time we're actually going to add code to it. So we are going to create a control, edit events handled by this case, the new numeric that we just created. And then over here, we're going to follow the instructions, right click, edit events handled by this case. I want the increment with weight. And you can see here that I need to feed the numeric as well as the weight on notifier. Okay? And then here's the increment with weight. The difference between the what we're doing with the regular request and the request and wait for reply, as you can see on the getting started video, is that we have a notifier here that notifies when we're done. So if I wanted to change the argument for the reply for the notifier, what I can do here is create a constant, and then I'm going to do open type def, and we're going to put here, instead of just a boolean, we're going to return how much is left in the progress bar. Remaining space in progress. Okay, or let's just call it remaining space. There we go. Remaining space. So I close, save. All right. So now I'm going to be getting. Not only am I going to be creating a local variable here, and then change to read, and I am going to be adding the new numeric. But I'm also going to check and then copy this guy, change to read, change to write. And I know I shouldn't be using this many local variables, but it makes the example pretty quickly. So what I can do now is just send this number that I have directly as a reply. So I'm going to send that, and I can take this guy and make some space here. Selecting the whole thing, and then the remaining space, and send that out, remove, and there we go. And we need, on where I was doing the call, I have here my reply. Okay, so if I run this and I start the module, I show the module, and then we set that the max value now is going to be 55, and I start sending. I can increment like this, or I can tell it to increment 5 by 5, and you see that every time that I increment, it's not really giving me the remaining space, it's giving me the actual space that I have right now, but it's okay. You get the thing. Well, that works great, but let's say I want to save all, and I decide that that increment with weight really doesn't add anything, and I want to remove it. I'm going to go to Delacor, DQMH, remove DQMH event. I'm going to select the progress bar, and now I'm going to say that I want to remove the increment with weight. And again, the note tells us not to save anything, right? This time, when I go to check the errors, I'm going to see that I have an event that was already assigned to something. Now it says unknown event. And I know it's part of the code that I wanted to remove. So I need to remove it. We don't remove it programmatically for you because we don't know if you added extra code, and that's why we want you to go remove the code that might be calling that code. We know also that we want to get rid of this case, and the other place is the tester, right? We don't want to have this case anymore, so I'm going to delete this event case. And here's the question: is if you hit save all here, the clusters that we had already removed for you, which is the argument and the reply payload, as well as the VI itself, would be saved. And then if you are using source code control, they would add to your source code control. So you say don't save all, and that will remove them from your project and from disk. Okay? And then the last tool that we have on the DQMH is the validate DQMH module. And this is probably going to be more useful in the future when you are working directly. You know, when we start making changes, if you want to go and see, we're probably going to add tests to see if your module is still compatible with a DQMH or not. In this case, since we just create them, of course they're going to be compatible. But some of the things that this tool is useful for is, let's say that I decide that I don't want to call this main, and I want to call it my progress bar. If I created it with the tools, and I go again to Delacor, DQMH, validate the DQMH module, my progress bar is still going to pass the test because we tag this VI as being the main. However, let's do something crazy here. What I'm going to do is I am going to take everything that's on the block diagram here, Control A, Control C, and I'm going to add a new VI. And I'm going to put it here on the block diagram, and that should have given me everything on the front panel as well, right? Yeah, so everything is there. And we are going to save this guy, and let's see, why do I have, oh yeah, so we need to make sure that this VI is part of progress bar, so he has access to all the hidden stuff. And I'm going to call this guy progress bar 2. 2, and I'm going to do that, save, because for whatever reason I decided to delete the original one and I recreated it. So if I close it and now I remove it from my project, okay, and I'm going to make these the private, private, and save all. If I go now and try to validate my module, my DQMH module, and I go to the progress bar and say OK, it should tell me that it couldn't find main. And it couldn't find main because it's a brand new VI. It does have everything that it needs, but it's not there. So I can tell it to fix the issue, and it's going to ask me to identify who is main. So I'm going to identify progress bar 2 as main. That's going to fix the issue. When I rescan the module, it recognizes it. Other ways that can break a DQMH module is getting rid of these labels or editing them. So I'm going to add an S there. And if I go to Tools, Delacor, DQMH, Validate DQMH Module, and select the progress bar, now we're going to find that the DQMH event tester is not found. So some of them can be fixed by using the tools. Some of them we have to fix manually. The main thing is try to not modify those labels and you should be fine. But if you need to figure out why your scripting tools are not working, then use the validate. All right? If you have any questions, let us know. Bye.